All right, hi everybody, Ken Johnson here with you on this Sunday afternoon. I thought we'd do a quick Facebook Live update for you before we get into the Cowboys game. I am watching the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals, and it looks like the Bengals are doing pretty good. I told you that they might win, so we'll see what happens with that. But this is not a sports update. This is a weather update. I know everybody wants to know what the weather's going to do on this upcoming Tuesday. Still a lot of forecasts that are out there, but the weather information is very, very consistent, and it really is every single run, too. And we'll have a chance to look at the afternoon run of the NAM model here in a few minutes together live. I have not looked at that yet, but it does look like we're going to see winter weather on Tuesday. Starting to get a little more confident in how much in the way of accumulations that we might eventually see. So we'll see what happens with that, but we will keep an eye on it. And I'll show you what I'm forecasting right now. It looks like we will see some accumulations of some snow as this is a pretty vigorous storm system. So let's start by looking at the weather models. And this is the GFS. Then we'll look at the NAM model in a few minutes. Let's go on past. Here's our storm. This would be on tomorrow evening. Tomorrow, Monday, no issues at all. But here we go into tomorrow night and into Tuesday. And here comes our big storm system. You can see it moving across. There's the bulk of it, the energy really digging in on Tuesday morning around 9 a.m. The center of it down near, just south of Midland, Odessa, southeast of El Paso. And from there, it intensifies and moves eastward during the afternoon, and as that cold core, that storm moves right over us, the air aloft is really going to turn cold. And with this type of a storm system and an intensifying storm system at that, we'll likely see some areas of heavier precipitation that will be generated. Now, I know a lot of people, including the Weather Service and a lot of meteorologists or a lot of people in general, weather people, sending out conflicting information and talking about marginal temperatures for this. And I'm going to show you why they're saying that in just a few moments. But again, this is from the GFS computer model. And let's just go on past tomorrow. Here's our storm system. You can see the surface low moving across South Texas. And here we are at about 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning with precipitation, mostly in the form of rain across a good part of our area. But back off to the northwest, as that storm system begins to crank, it produces its own cold air. Our computer models, and somebody asked me earlier, I've yet to see a forecast of 32 degrees. Well, what happens in these situations, this storm system is so strong, it generates its own cold air. Our computer models cannot handle this type of a situation. They're just not built to handle it very well. So they're naturally going to put temperatures a lot warmer than we actually will be, especially when you start generating heavy precipitation, you start throwing ice or frozen precipitation into the mix. It changes the atmosphere up and it causes the temperatures to drop down to about 31, 32 degrees. So we may not start off with temperatures above freezing, but as precipitation increases in coverage and in intensity, it's going to get stronger and the temperatures are going to begin to drop then. Now here we are into the early afternoon, most of the area getting in on snow. And we see, it looks like we see snow into at least the early parts of the evening on Tuesday. So with this run of the GFS, this is basically suggesting that we see the rain in the morning, first of all transitioning to snow out west, and then we begin to see the area, most of the rest of the area transition to snow by the afternoon into the evening hours. And GFS is forecasting snowfall out somewhere into the 0 to 7 inch range across southern Oklahoma, North Texas, and that extends over into Arkansas and into Missouri. The track of the storm system to me looks favorable for especially northwest Texas and southwestern and southern portions of Oklahoma to get into some pretty heavy snow during the afternoon. Now keep in mind, that's just one of our computer model runs. That's from the GFS. Now let's look at the NAM model from this morning. And we're not going to get too much into the details. I'm just going to show you the various forecasts it's showing. And this is from the NAM model. It's a bit heavier, but it too has that area of heavier snow that covers most of southern Oklahoma and down into northwest Texas. But keep in mind, that's the morning run. As we get closer to the event, higher resolution data is going to come in, and it's going to change the game a bit, and it'll help us get a better idea of exactly how much we might see fall. These numbers are typically a little bit too high. They're a little bit too high. The model data usually cranks out too much snow in these situations. Now let's fast forward and let's look at the afternoon run of the NAM model and see what it's showing. We will dive, since I haven't looked at it, we will dive deep into this one here. And I will say this about the NAM model. It's usually not a real good model unless it is, if that makes sense. You know, usually I don't put a lot of stock in it unless we're in a convective type of situation. But as of right now, I'm more of a fan of the European model than any of it. But we're not going to discount any of our computer models. Here we are with the NAM model. Here we are going into the afternoon. Look at that vigorous storm system. It is very strong. Look at that. The afternoon run's even stronger, looks like to me. The center of that upper level low pressure system taking on a negative tilt. It's located just south of Abilene. That puts most of our area on the north side of it. And look at that. We're just northwest. This would be an ideal spot for heavy snow across Oklahoma and down into North Texas. You know, if this particular run verifies, that could be some big snows for somebody there. Let's look at precipitation. We're just going to look at, I'm just looking at what's called QPF. This is not going to show the snowfall amounts on here. I just want to see what it's showing QPF wise. Now there we are at 9Z, 15Z on that'd be 9 a.m. on Friday morning. That's all rain. Look at that heavy rain though being generated by the afternoon. Look at that thunderstorm area across East Texas, and those thunderstorms here will feed into some heavy rain. Look at the heavy rain across. This is the heavy snow, actually, precipitation across southwest Oklahoma and down into northwest Texas. And that continues into the afternoon and the evening hours. And what you got to have to get a significant increase in snowfall amounts, you have to have a prolonged period of heavy precipitation, heavy snow, so it has a better chance to add up. So let's see how it does with this. It does bring the rain transitioning to snow line by 9 a.m. into the Wichita Falls area. And look at all that heavy snow falling into the afternoon, lunchtime, afternoon across most of the area. And I tell you what, if that verifies, there's going to be a major accumulating snow with that. These are the accumulation amounts showing up. Basically, look at some of those areas in northwest Texas up close to a foot. Some of those areas in southeastern parts of Oklahoma up to a foot and higher. These numbers usually are a little bit too heavy, so I'm not going to go verbatim with that, but it certainly is possible, looking pretty possible that somewhere in southwest Oklahoma, northwest Texas, into a good part of the southern part of Oklahoma will receive in excess of 6 inches of snow with this type of a situation. Now let me take you to a situation here. A lot of weather people, including, and I don't ever down our weather service, but whoever's putting those graphics on their page, it just doesn't look good. They're doing some percentage type stuff. I mean, it confuses me, and the public won't have a clue as to what you're talking about with that. All right, so what I'm showing you here is called a temperature profile. And if you look, all right, so the red is the temperature, the green is the moisture. And whenever they're close together, the atmosphere is saturated, so that's usually 100% cloud cover and usually precipitation. There is your freeze line, that little dashed line, it slants down. And notice how your red line from the surface of the earth all the way up is below 32. And it's well below 32 above the Earth's surface. To me, that is an ideal forecast sounding for snow. The only issue I see at all would be down at the Earth's surface. We're only at 32 degrees. If it snows hard enough, you can get accumulations even at 33 and 34. But 32 degrees is very marginal at best. Still going to see snow. I think it'll be mostly snow too by the afternoon. I don't think it'll be a rain-snow mix. We may start with the rain-snow mix, but I think we see mostly snow by the afternoon. And with that type of a temperature profile, most of what we're going to see is a slushy, wet snow. This means it accumulates on grassy surfaces, elevated surfaces. It can weight down trees. It can cause power outages too. But usually it doesn't present too many problems in the roadways. The roadways usually are wet. If it snows hard enough, you can get some slush that builds up. But keep in mind, our weather information won't handle a melting situation. It's called the latent heat process. It won't handle the latent heat or the melting process very well. When you throw if you take a room, you throw a bunch of ice in there, and it begins to melt, it causes the air around it to evaporate and it cools. Same principle as when you get out of the shower. The water begins to evaporate off your skin and it feels really chilly. So usually this will cool the atmosphere some, usually not too much. Usually 30, 31, 32 is the most you can get. So I definitely think this will be a snow situation for most of us. Now, we'll show you the European computer model. real fast, and it has heavier snowfall amounts. And I am a fan of the European model, and again, I'm liking the way the setup looks for pretty significant snow for somebody across the area. Let's go in a little bit closer here so you can see what we're looking at here. And all I'm going to do with this is just going to show you the accumulation showing up with this. I'm not going to show you the dynamics with the system. And this is going to be, probably a little bit too hot, probably a little bit too heavy with some of these numbers here, I'd imagine. This has some big snows accumulating all the way down into most of northwest Texas. And it certainly is possible that we could. Okay, let's see here. Give me just a second here. All right, so here is the accumulations. All right, this is from the European computer model, and it has that band of heavier snow further south, and it has up to a foot in some of our western counties, and it has 8 inches here in the Wichita Falls. So we'll see, and we'll keep an eye on this. But again, I think these numbers might be a little bit too high. So you can see all the various weather information that we look at, it kind of differs. And people have been asking me, why do we have so many models that we look at? Well, they're the equations, the numbers that go into them are just different. They're set to handle certain situations better. Based upon everything that I have seen, I'm going to have to switch my sources here, so give me just a second to do this. But based upon everything that I have seen, this is what my first forecast is for this. Now keep in mind, this could change. This is from the weather graph, my weather graphic system at the station. I dialed into the system this morning and built this morning. It's what you see me post on my page here. So based upon everything that I've seen, and this is subject to change, I have an area of the heavy area of snow, northwest Texas, southwest Oklahoma, Seymour, Vernon, Altus, Lawton, Wichita Falls, Duncan, Waurika, and then kind of south of Oklahoma City. And again, some of this area could see up to 6 inches. Remember though, in this type of situation, it's wet. The ground's pretty warm, so you're probably going to have a good bit of melting that takes place underneath it. So that might temper some of the situation. This is not a sleet type of setup, so I'm not too worried with that. But you might get the bottom layer, the snow might start melting pretty quickly. So that might be a situation too that kind of brings some of the snowfall official numbers, or it may appear to be a little lower than what you think there because of that reason. So that's what I'm forecasting, is up to 6 inches there across a good part of our area. This is subject to change as I get high resolution. The HER model that I love will be start to come into range this afternoon and tonight. And I'll be able to throw those numbers into the mix as well. But somewhere in there, I'm going to go up to 6 inches, could be more. Some places might be a little bit less. Of course, these situations can be tricky. This is a very strong storm system. There could be thunderstorms involved with this in some areas. Matter of fact, this isn't that much different looking from what we call a synoptic standpoint than the blizzard we had here back in 2009. And that wound up producing a lot of snow too. A very similar setup. Only difference was we had more Arctic air involved. This does not have Arctic air involved. It's generating its own cold air. So that's the difference between this one. But some big snowfall amounts would still be possible. Be pretty breezy, pretty windy too, but probably not those 60-mile-per-hour winds we were seeing with that particular storm. So no, I'm not forecasting a blizzard, but I am forecasting some pretty heavy snowfall amounts with this particular system here. So give me a second. I'm going to minimize this screen here. I am now going to take the opportunity to answer some of your questions here. So if you have them, make sure that you ask them here. We got a lot of questions. A lot of people have been watching this afternoon. And keep in mind, I'm going to get off of here before the Cowboys game comes on. It's 3 o'clock right now. The Cowboys game will come on till 5. We'll be long done by then. All right, looks like somebody's asking about sound. Somebody didn't have sound. I have sound loud and clear. Good. All right. This is not a situation, Jennifer, where we're going to get ice. No ice. This will be all snow. And I don't think we'll see a winter mix before snow. This looks like, I mean, there could be a little sleet involved, but I don't expect much in the way of sleet, honestly. I think we're mostly going to see Mostly going to see snow with this. Rain and maybe a rain-snow mix, and then over to mostly snow. And I do hate this. You know, in my opinion, I don't like this stuff either. This is a situation where everything is just so nasty. It's real wet. It's real cold and just gross outside. I hate wet snow events, and that's what we have here. Morning commute for Tuesday should be okay. Afternoon a little dicey, but I think in general will be okay. Like I say, it's mostly wet roadways, but keep an eye on that. If it winds up getting super, super heavy, then you're going to get slush that's going to build up on the roadways, and that too can create problems on the road. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And yes, Cindy, there will be snow on Tuesday if you live in Oklahoma or North Texas. Somebody wants to know about Stephenville. You might see a little, but I think you're going to be too far south to get much out of this one, honestly. No ice, Jennifer, no ice. Lacey, hard to say when it would transition. I'm going to go late morning or certainly by the early afternoon, and it should last into the evening, Penny. Yep, same as Wichita Falls. I mean, as a matter of fact, Iowa Park may get a little more than Wichita Falls. You know, a lot of times it just depends on where the heavy bands of snow set up. If you're in that band, you get some heavy stuff. You may pick up 6 inches. If you're out of that band, you may only get a couple of inches. And right now, I do not expect schools to close on Tuesday. If the WFISD were to ask me, I would say no. And probably not Wednesday either. But like I say, it just depends on the slush that might build up on the road. So we'll keep an eye on that. Thanks, Ryan. You're the man, too. This all gets started on Tuesday, Gabby. Bryson probably misses out on a lot of it too, I would think. I think Bryson, is that down towards the Metro? The Metroplex probably misses out on this. No, the system's not trending north, Brandon. If anything, it's trending a little bit further south, but it's about the same as it has been. It really hasn't changed any at all. Monte County should get a couple inches out of this, I would think, and some other information gets you into the heavy snow too, but just kind of how things are lining up. I don't know if you're going to see the duration to get a heavy snow event, but we'll keep an eye on that. I'm keeping you just out of the heaviest snowfall areas. And I will try to do after the game is over, hopefully we're celebrating a win, I'll try to do another Facebook Live update tonight talking about this situation. If I don't do a Facebook Live update, I will at least put on here a video update on the Reels on Facebook and on YouTube as well, so keep an eye on that. Wise County could get some. I don't think you're going to get a lot as of right now, but that's subject to change. I don't know. You'll see a transition, but I just don't know that you're going to be seeing a long enough transition to get a lot. Lubbock, yeah, you should, Denisha, you should get some good snow Tuesday morning. The heaviest will be away from you, but you still should see accumulations down there Tuesday morning. Snowfall gets started, I would say around lunchtime here in the falls. Out west would be sooner, but these things do have a way of changing their time, so we'll keep that. And yeah, I think we could get 6 inches out of this. We'll see. And it could go higher. We could see numbers. Numbers at this point in time are still a little bit of ways away. And I'll tell you right, and Mandy, I forget her last name. She used to be the chief meteorologist over at up at KSWO. She put a graphic on Facebook this morning that was odd. It was great. She could not have nailed it any better than what she said about, what you do in forecasting is you look for trends, you recognize the patterns, you look for trends, and then you make your forecast based upon that. So that's kind of how I'm doing. I'm just doing trends. Roads are looking slushy and wet on Tuesday. We are doing a first alert weather day for Tuesday, by the way. There are no winter storm watches out for our area yet. I think there should be. If I were the Weather Service, I'd already put one out. I don't know what again, they continue to when you're a meteorologist, you have to sometimes just take these models and just use them as a guidance. You have to go with what you know. And what do you know as a meteorologist? Our models typically don't handle these situations very well. And we usually wind up seeing things change a lot more quickly. We usually get colder. Just a lot of different things happen that usually the models won't handle. So I'm forecasting this based upon knowledge rather than just the computer models by themselves. Bryson, you'll get a little bit. I don't know that you're going to get a lot, but you should see a little bit of a transition. I don't think so, Ryan. I don't think so. You'll see some. You're going to see some slushy conditions, but I think the roads will probably wind up being okay. I'm not going to say power outages are likely, but they're certainly possible with the wet snow. They can cause tree limbs to break, and they can create power outages. Wet snows are never fun because of that. So, and the overall weather pattern, I'm telling you, still looks cold a good part of next week and the following week, and there could be some more snow chances along the way. So. All right, so that's about it for right now. I don't have much else going on, much else to contribute here at this time. Like I say, I'll try to do another update coming up tonight after the game. I'm actually going to try to do a little pre-watch party here coming up for the Cowboys game in a few minutes. So be on the lookout for that. Once again, thank you for following me. Thank you for asking questions. Remember, turn your notifications on Facebook. For whatever reason, the way Meta does things now. When they came in, they changed up some stuff, and they made it to where you have to go in and manually turn your live updates for Ken Johnson on now, or you don't get them. You won't see it until after the fact. So you do that. Make sure you follow my YouTube page. We've actually gotten some followers on it all of a sudden. And that's just meteorologist Ken Johnson. Pretty easy to find there. So, and my Facebook page, share it with your friends. First Alert 6 Chief Meteorologist, pretty easy to find that one. So I do appreciate all you guys are doing here, watching and whatnot. And I love all you guys, and I do appreciate the viewership here. And we'll have more updates in the hours ahead. Snowstorm, winter storms, never an easy forecast, but it always is pretty fun to do these. I actually do enjoy them sometimes. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day, and let's go Cowboys. And this will conclude this Facebook and YouTube Live.